Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today on Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's birthday itself. 22nd of May is Sherlock Holmes Day. So what better day to launch our first Sherlock's webinar? So today I'm your host. I'm Debbie Sawyer. I'm from Smarter Business Processes. We are consultants here in the UK and we have partnered with the Sherlox.AI team to bring this webinar to you. We have Darren Mullen from the Sherlock's team who's going to be doing the demo itself on Sherlock's. So let's get started. What is Sherlock's? That is the name of this webinar, and we're not going to go into a huge amount of detail today. This is just a general overview to whet your appetites, and I'll announce at the end of the session our ongoing plans for further webinars. So what is Sherlock's? It's an AI-powered collaboration and workflow intelligence system. So if you have used Smartsheet before, Smartsheet is a collaborative work management platform and Sherlock's is also that. But the beauty of Sherlock's is that it has been built ground up with AI at its core. And so the AI-powered collaboration is very powerful because of the proper data architecture that is in the background of this platform. So we have the ability to have unlimited projects and storage. The storage capacity within Sherlock's is table-based. It's a proper relational database core structure, allowing you to store your truth in the proper way with relational models and picking the data from the tables as and when it's required and having that non-duplicate data storage points. We've got intelligent workflow automation, and that means that the workflows will not only manage your users and your permissions and surfacing the data in the correct place. It also does a bit of notifications and it will change data for you at given points. It's a real proper way of flowing your data through its life cycle and showing how that will work within Sherlock's. We have real-time dashboards. So the interface that we have that goes between the data structure in the back end and the user's experience in the front end is a real-time dashboard. And so that is filterable. You have multiple views, so you can set up views for different audiences so that your data in its storage capacity can be surfaced in multiple ways. The widgets in the dashboards are all the ones you would expect. So we've got metric widgets, we've got chart widgets, but we also have filters and tables that you can edit, Gantt charts that you can edit and update straight from those dashboards. The dashboards interact with the back end in real time, and so any edits you make are instantly visible through that interface. We also have secure role-based permissions, so all your collaborators can be set up against roles, and then those roles can be set up against the workflows. So as your data works through its workflow, the different roles that interact with that data will have their permissions surfaced and then sort of taken away again as and when it's relevant throughout that data lifecycle, which is really exciting to see and not something that you may have in your current work management platforms. There is AI-powered document extraction and classification, which means that you can upload documents to Sherlock's and it can read those documents and automatically classify them so that your collaborators can search across your whole storage capacity and find and surface the relevant documents from wherever they're stored within their tables in a nice and quick and easy manner. You can also get Sherlock's to read your uploaded documents and extract the data into the tables, or you can have your table data pushed out into documents like a mail merge type environment. Also, we could use AI to help us assess our architecture. We can get it to help us design. We could get it to help us analyze the data, give us business insights. It's all possible with this platform. So, without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Darren in just a second. But we have built a demonstration model for you for this webinar today. We thought it would be a bit of fun to play on Sherlock Holmes Day. So, our scenario that the demonstration is based on is that we are together hosting a murder mystery dinner. So, we have to create that event. So, in order to create the event, we need an event checklist with activities, being able to manage the progress against time against those activities to be able to deliver our event to you today. We need registration forms, ones that could be populated electronically or handed out and then imported to the solution. We also maybe need a seating plan so we can give it to our waiting staff. So when our attendees arrive, we know where to seat them. So that is the scenario. That's what we're going to see today. Like I said, this is just going to be an overview of Sherlock's to give you an idea of the power of this tool. And then afterwards, we can give you an idea of how to go further into discovering this platform. So I'm going to stop sharing and hand over to Darren and take it away.
All right, hello everyone. Thanks for the introduction, Debbie. I'm Darren Mullen, SVP of Product Development at Sherlox.AI, and I will be running a demo today. First of all, I'm going to start with, this is our, what we call surveys. They are useful as web forms. In addition to, there's a survey component, meaning you can run some built-in metrics on them, or you can collect data into your tables. Now, before I fill this out, though, I want to show what I'm working on the interface. This would be an interface, say, at this theater, and I have my seating chart showing me where all the tables, how the tables are laid out for this event, with some sample, showing how the chairs are seated, everything, the capacity of each table. And then as I scroll down, I have the assigned seating count by table. So it tells me for each table how many people are seated, are filled, meaning you'll see once people start arriving to the event, we can mark them as seated, and these numbers will go up as they are seated. Did a little color coordination, made the circles match the tables as best I could. That's good. We have some event metrics here. The total capacity for this event is 50. And I currently have 32 registrations and 0 seats are assigned, meaning you'll see we're going to use the AI to assign the parties to different tables. So once we do that, that number will increase. And suspects in the theater, whenever someone comes to the door and registers that they are in the theater, that number will go up. So first, I'm going to fill out or submit this sign up electronically that I've already filled out. Hit that submit button. Come back to the interface. I'm going to refresh that. Okay. Scroll down. And now we're up to 34. Great. At the same time, while that was occurring, I also received a nice notification, confirmation that says, you've been registered, got a little bit of branding there. This is all, customizable, make it look as nice as you want or as simple as you want. Yep. Then I'm going to go to an admin screen. I want to show an admin screen that could be used by the event admins. And this is where I can see all the registrations on this interface, the party size. Once we assign tables, we'll see that. And they're all set to registered. Okay. As Debbie was saying, we can see the Gantt charts on the interface. So I've got an event schedule here. I've started and said, I want to plan out this event. So I've already done all this stuff here. It's all 100%. Then I get down to the bottom here, and I'm need to monitor signups and send confirmations. That's kind of where we are now. So I think it's about time to say that's complete because we're at the event. I close registrations. Before I close the registrations, I want to submit one more. We also allow paper registrations for this event. So one way that I'm going to enter this in, and I'll show you an example of what I'm going to enter in. We received this paper from Bob Jones here, who handwriting looks suspiciously like mine, very poor. So we're going to have Sherlock see if when I upload this, can it extract the relevant data. The way I'm going to do it here today is just going to click this add button on the interface. Then it allows me to upload paper registration form. I want to say here that we do have a form entries on these interfaces, but I don't have that built out today. I'm going to use this interface instead. Go ahead and I will drag over that PDF, upload it. While that is cranking and extracting the data, there we go. Oh, yeah, it did it. The filter set that once that's all filled out, it moves to the registered table. So go ahead, I'll find that. Where'd Bob Smith go? Let's see, assign table. I should have sorted this by create date. That's what I should have done. Bob Jones, where's Bob Jones? There he is. Bob Jones, party of 2, none. So yeah, extracted it. Great. So we can see that here. There's that attachment, and there's that primary contact name. So pretty good job. Okay. Go back to that seating chart. Now I've got 36 registrations. Okay. So next step is, well, we want to be able to seat these attendees. So I'm going to go here. I'm just going to mark it off, say I'm going to close registrations now because we're done. No more registrations needed. Okay. So I could follow this along, say finalize a table list and capacities and assign parties a table. That's where I'm doing that. Okay. So I could go through this and manually assign them. I could pick a table here and assign them. Or let's see how the AI does it. For that, I'm going to go to the backend interface. We could use the AI assistant here, but being that we want to really make this a solid demo, I think it's best to go into the parties table itself and be very explicit about what we want to do. And actually, I have a prompt already ready. So I'm going to use that because that will be easier than having you type it out. But I'm going to do a new conversation. So as you can see, this AI assistant, I've been using it in this environment, and it keeps all your history, and you can archive it if you don't want it there anymore. I'm going to paste that in. And so what it says is that I'm going to assign the parties based on the party size. It's going to assign all these different parties to tables and try to balance it out. And I don't want to split up parties. If 4 people come in a party, I want them all at the same table. Let's go send that. I'll let that crank here. Okay, while that's cranking, I'm going to show. Okay, it's going to ask me some questions. It should be up here shortly. I was going to show some other prompts that I've done. I'll just do that real quick. Just so you can see how some of this AI works. This is when I was starting it. I decided I wanted to leverage the AI some and explain that I'm creating this demo on Sherlock Holmes Day, and I want to create a sign-up survey for a mystery dinner and so forth. And so it came back, it asked me some questions. It's a very chatty. It wants to know that what you're doing is what you want to do. So I'll go through and then I chat back and forth with it, and then ultimately it results in kind of what I got to here. Let's go back, check that here. Okay, checking back on that table assignment. So it understood that I don't want to split parties, I don't want to balance them. It's going to give me an example of how it's going to do it first, and say it's going to fill table 1 with 8, table 2 with 10, table 3 with 9, table 4 with 7, and then table 5 with 2. But it says, yep, good. So I will assign. Do you want me to? Yes, I'll just do 1. And in fact, well, you see in here, it's asking about tables 6 through 8. Why is that? Well, in the tables the table of tables, I have 5 tables that have capacity 10 and 3 that have capacity 2. But for this event, we only want the capacity 10 tables. So in the actual parties table where the data is being stored, this is a linked record. I know we had some questions come in about the relational nature of the data. So this is a good opportunity to show that. I have a filter on here that says only show tables in this dropdown where the capacity equals 10. So I'm sharing that I'm only going to be able to pick, those tables. And furthermore, let's go back here. Let's see if it completed. Okay, I think it did. Yes. Good. Okay, great. So let's just refresh this, see if it came in. It didn't. Nope. It was asking me another question. Sorry. I'm trying to carry on 2 conversations at once here. All right. Getting back to what I was saying about the tables. So these 8 tables, capacity 10. I'm gonna say let's name table 1 Sherlock, and we can name table 2 the Watson table. We can give them names. If I go back to parties, see, it automatically pulled that in. That says, oh, you changed the name. It didn't break anything because it's true relational. And yes, it did assign everything. So that's good. If I were to go back here to tables, just so you can see, I'm going to change table 1 back to just table 1. Go back to parties, and there's table 1 back to table 1. Okay. Let's see, I'll go back to the interface. I'm just going to close that assistant. And going back to the seating chart, I see now that, it's assigned all the seats for me. Now, it put 2 here. I could have been a little more explicit and saying, don't leave this one party of 2 by themselves, bring some over from another table. We could very well do that. Okay. All right, so now 36 seats are assigned. Great. And as you can see here, now this grid, this Kanban, and this filter are interacting with each other. And if I change this to table 2, then, I have, these are the 3 parties that are at table 2. And they're all showing as registered. Now, if I'm working I'm working the host at the event, this party comes in, and I'll just drag them over. Now they're seated, and so the suspects in the theater are now 2. So we have party at 2. Joseph party shows up. Oh, now we have 8 seated. Great. Okay. There's more than one interface you could build for this. We could do it in the grid. We could do many more, obviously, different ones. Mickey Mouse showed up. Okay. You get the idea there. Let's see. So I think that's a good stopping point because I showed you the back end here and everything's showing up. And let's say I'm done with the event. I could go ahead and, I could mark that off. And let's say I assign tables. Great. I could keep going. One last thing I want to show before we open up her questions. I want to go to the survey here just so you can kind of experience the survey yourself. I've got a CWM platform survey. I'm going to open this in a new tab, and you can take out your phone if you wish and scan it and submit it. It's a single question survey. Just do it for fun. And we can look at some of those results that come in. Let me go back to surveys here. Let me go back to the other one, just so you can see. This is that mystery sign up survey that I had. So it gives us some data on the trends of responses, completion times. How did you hear about us? It's going to give me a chart right there in here. I can export these results, bring them in somewhere else, or bring them into our Sherlox table, wherever we want. Let's see if anyone has filled out our CWM survey yet. Let's see. Oh, we got a couple. Okay. Somebody used Sherlock. Somebody used a Smartsheet. Okay. So we got some coming in. I'll let that on the screen a little bit and see how many more come in. Debbie, did you want to bring in some of those questions that came in before the session?
Yeah, sure. So I think Lamar has got them listed.
Okay.
So Lamar, can you read them out at all?
Most definitely. So the first question we have is it a replacement for Smartsheet or an enhancement or both?
Good question. Could be either. It could replace Smartsheet. But if you're in an environment that still needs Smartsheet for some reason, we can connect the two. We can send data between the two if needed.
So we can also migrate data if you
Yeah.
are looking to exit Smartsheet and migrate your data across to Sherlock's. That is also an option.
And that leads right into the next question, which is how is the data linked across multiple sheets? How can the data be viewed in multiple ways? And what are the KPI reporting possibilities?
Yep. Yep. We kind of went over that. We'll just hit that real quick again. Let me see first if anyone else filled out a survey. Okay. Got some more. Okay, Airtable. We got some Airtable user and a couple Smartsheet and Sherlock's. Good. Data is stored in tables. In this example, we have, of course, the table like I showed. And in the parties table, the assigned table is linked to that table, as I showed. We can also bring in additional data from this table because it is linked. So if I wanted to bring in the capacity for some reason, I can add a lookup field that would bring in the capacity here based on the table that I have selected here. That's very easy to do. Showing data in different views. You can see we have the grid, we have the Kanban. We have other views. We have the grid, Gantt, as I showed you, which the Gantt is here. Oh, I'm in the event plans. Gantt. Here's my Gantt. This is the backend Gantt. So very similar to the interface Gantt, but just bigger. This is where you would, the backend users would plan this out. And that's an important thing. Most of the users of Sherlock's probably wouldn't be interacting in the back end unless you have a very small organization. The intent is for most users to interact through the interface itself. So it can be very fit for purpose based on our permissioning and workflows. You can lock down pages, lock down grids based on someone's permissions and roles that you assign. Yep.
May I add on that? So one of the questions was about the KPI reporting and things. So on this interface, you've got the event metrics that's just below the seating plan there with the 50 and the 36. Those are created sort of on the fly in the dashboard. So those of you that are used to Smartsheet backends, which is where I've come from historically, in order to get metric widgets like that up on dashboards, we usually have to have some form of metric sheet with lots of calculations in it that do loads of cross-sheet formulas and functions that is quite complex to set up. But in this environment, you can just go into your interface and say, I'd like a metric to look at this table and add up this stuff. So you don't need to have all of those metric sheets in the background. You just do all of the calculations directly there in the widgets on the dashboard, which I think is a massive time saver. And it brings the power of complex formulae to every end user rather than
Yep.
just people that have learned how to write all your cross sheet formulas and understand managed references and things like that. So
Yep.
surfacing KPI results is a lot easier. And you've also got that AI assistant. So you can
Yep.
ask the AI to go and find your KPIs for you, and it'll come back with the results in that
Yep.
table, which is also really quite powerful.
Yep. And yep, I use the AI here to display that, and I had it help me style it too, because um, I'm not the most creative with styling things. But you don't have to use the AI. I'd like to stress that too. You could very easily just create your own component yourself and put in the filters that you need. So you can see here, how easy, it's really easy. Just select the tables, the aggregation, we put filters on it, and that's how we come to this. We don't need to do any additional metric table or sheet calculations and fancy formulas. We can do it right here in the interface.
So during this demonstration, we've looked at that relational data structure in the background and seen how the dynamic drop downs work. The example of that was the table names being expanded and collapsed and showing how that filters through to the parties table. We've had a look at forms data entry and a quick glimpse of the survey. How that manual form was just uploaded into the registration table. And, Sherlock's just understood that really lovely handwriting and put the data in the right places. We've had a look at the AI assisted table allocation and shown how powerful that interface is. It being dynamic, editable, filterable, updating Gantts through it, updating tables through it, adding rows through it, and manipulating widgets. So that's our demonstration for you. This is an opportunity for further questions. So if you do have any further questions, you're welcome to unmute and ask a question.
I had a comment real quick.
Yeah, sure.
The scenario we set up was this event planning in a sense. But Sherlock is not limited to event planning. It's just this is a scenario we came up with, and we'll continue to be building on it. Just like all these other platforms that we've listed or talked about, it is a blank slate, and that you can build it how you want. You take your relational data, you take your projects, your documents, and apply it to any use case that you want.
Absolutely. There has a question just come in. So, are there any datasheet size limits?
No, we can handle millions of records.
Fantastic. It's a great answer.
Yep.
So, those of you that have come from other platforms, we know that there are column size limits, row limits, cell limits in those other platforms. So, this has none of those limits on columns, rows, or cells in your data storage. Any other further questions? If not, then I'll just wrap up. So Darren and I will be continuing a series of these webinars. We hope for them to be short and sweet, but zooming in on the different capabilities of the platform. We will be extending this scenario to show how we can import from other platforms. So we'll show you the power of the import wizard. It makes it a really easy tool to migrate into Sherlock's from other systems. We'll have a deeper look at the tables and all the field types that you have available to you, and just explore how those field types can help you automate the data throughout your structure at the back end. We'll have a little zoom in on the forms versus the surveys and how the both of them work, and how they are different from each other, but also have similar functionality as well. We'll look at workflows and automations. Now, this isn't just send an email if a trigger is true. These are so much more powerful and in depth. So, if you want to see just how automated you can get your data flows, then do come to that webinar specifically. Looking at interfaces, we had images, tables, updating tables, we had widgets, metric widgets, we had forms, Gantts, tables on our demonstration interface. But we would like to, invite you to come to, a deeper dive into how those widgets are set up and put onto the interface and how that interacts with the back end. User management, if those of you that have said that you've come from Smartsheet, you might have heard of Dynamic View. Dynamic View is a way of getting your collaborators to collaborate with just the data they're allowed to see. So that level of user management is available in Sherlock's, but actually goes a bit deeper than Dynamic View does. So if you're interested in how do you restrict your users to only edit and view their own data, then that user management webinar will be a useful one to go to. And you can see the others that we got there. So we'll be sending out on LinkedIn and other sort of platforms invites to these webinars. We are also going to send out a review form from this webinar with a question on it if you would like to come and attend these others. So when that comes through, it'll probably be early next week now. Please do identify if you would like to have invites to some more of these webinars. Conversely, if you wanted to have a personal demonstration, it's where we can have a look at your own use case and decide or discover whether Sherlock's is the right fit for you, then do reach out to Darren and his team or Lamar and our team, and we can arrange a one-to-one type meeting with you to discuss your particular use cases. So I think that's it from me. Darren, did you have anything else you would like to say?
Nope. If you want to reach out, you can reach out to us at Sherlox.AI or smarterbusinessprocesses.com.
That's wonderful.
WCM.
Thank you ever so much, everyone, for coming. I just saw David saying it's an awesome platform. I absolutely agree. It is an awesome platform, and I've had the opportunity to come in and play with it myself, and I really welcome you the opportunity to see a bit more of a closer demo. So do reach out if we can help. Thank you ever so much.
And I just will say too, thank you everyone for coming and spending the time here with us, celebrating Sherlock Holmes Day.
Excellent.
Have a good weekend, everybody.